Welcome everyone to Bet What Happens Live. We are at the 2-minute warning of the Dallas Cowboys versus the Los Angeles Chargers. We've got a score of 7-7 right now. Los Angeles does have the ball. The Chargers have the ball. Just completed a pass to Josh Palmer. So Grant, right off the bat, I think you have a bet or two that you're looking at. What are they?
Yeah, I just hit Josh Palmer at over 3.5 receptions, plus 150 over at DK, and Quentin Johnson over 8.5 receiving yards, minus 120 over at Barstool. Quentin Johnson, he's got to be more involved in the second half. I mean, I know it's been weird. I know he hasn't had the highest snap count, but that's just such a low line. Before the game came in at 35.5. It's being bet up pretty quickly from 30. So 8.5 for the second half. Potentially a very close game still. Should be throwing the ball. I think he's going to be more involved. And Palmer, over 3.5 receptions. His pregame line was sitting at 3.5, but it's plus 150 on the over compared to minus 120. Still 2 minutes left in the quarter here. Chargers have the ball. That Palmer just got a reception. He got a touchdown taken away from him. I think he's had that was his only other target. So they are going to get him involved. Look at all the games without Mike Williams with Palmer in there. He averages right around 8 targets per game. So 1 reception, need 3 in the second half, plus this 2-minute warning. I think he's going to get one on this drive here. So I'm rolling with it at big plus money.
Yeah, it is pretty big plus money. Technically, we're not showing an edge on it, but again, the Chargers have the ball right now, and they are going to start with the ball in the second half as well. So I could get behind that at plus money, but I think I'm interested in that Quentin Johnston one because, you know, that's the one we're really showing value on. He's played about half of the snaps, a little less than half the snaps, but even then, I think that's plenty enough. All he needs essentially is 1 decent sized reception to clear that 8.5. So I'm going to join you on Johnston over 8.5 receiving yards, but I think I'm just going to hold off a little bit on Palmer just because, we're showing like just very little value if we incorporate the fact that, at least in our projection model, if we incorporate the fact that the Chargers have the ball now and they'll start with the ball in the second half, then it bumps up the value even more.
Yep. What does it have for Palmer's over on receiving yards? Looks like
so we have a live projection for Palmer at 55.5 receiving yards.
By the way, Palmer, who called it? This guy.
Did he just get another catch there?
Yep. And let's see if he gets. No, that was Keenan Allen. All right. I was about to get real excited there. Palmer's reception prop is sitting at 4.5 now, plus 145. So instant value.
There you go. Well done, Grant. Grant right off the bat getting that second reception there for Josh Palmer. So if you tailed him on the over 3.5, which we were showing just a little bit of value on, but again, even more mentally, if you incorporate the fact that the Chargers have the ball now, we'll start the second half with it. I think that was a really solid bet there from Grant. But what I was trying to say, because obviously he just got another reception, so he's at 2 receptions for 37 yards. Our live projection for him is at 66 yards now. So I think you're asking about his yardage. So we'll just have to check and see where that ends up shaking out.
Yeah. So his yardage right now, I'm checking it on spots.
I think some spots are just off the board right now. But it looks like DraftKings just came back up as we talked about that, and they're at 60.5, and we're showing 66. With a median closer to around 62.
Yeah, I'm probably going to stay with. Strangely enough, I have the under on Palmer's yards at 55.5. I got like on Wednesday, and it got shot down like 15 yards. And now that is not looking great, but luckily early on in the week, couldn't get much money on it anyways. Let's look at other ones. Let's look at the rushing yard props. Is anything popping on your model? I know Dak's at 33. His current rushing yard total is sitting at 37 over on Bet Rivers.
One we're showing value on, but is actually on the under, would be on Justin Herbert's under on his rushing yards. We'll have to see where that unghosts at, because they have the ball right now. But Dak right now, the live line is 41 and a
Herbert is
half.
sitting at 8.5 over on Caesars minus 109 juice on the under. Does it like it at 8.5? And it just popped off.
Yeah, we have undervalue on Josh Herbert. We have him for 7 right now. But again, if they take the lead here, that could drop down even more. So there's an 8.5 that just popped up at DraftKings minus 120 to the under.
Yep. Same thing over at Barstool. Not that. So a single digit. It's messing me with all these Chargers receivers with single digit numbers on it. I'm like, oh, is that Palmer? No, that's a 7, not a 5. That was Everett. Let's see what else is popping here. Parham, what's his snap count been the first half?
That is a great question. Let me check real quick what I have for the most recent snap count on the Chargers tight ends. It looks like after the 3rd drive for the Chargers. No, I only have through 2 drives for the Chargers on tight end snap counts. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see. Usually at halftime, I'll be able to grab a full rundown of snap counts, but don't have that right now.
Yeah, that's fair. Just looking at other stuff. Like the under on Ferguson at 17 or at 24 and a half. I don't know how I feel about that one. It's dropped down. It's at 18 and a half. It was just ghosted. That's a stale line. Yeah, just looking through these. Pollard receiving yards. Current line is sitting at 26 and a half. You have 30. I kind of like that one here. If it pops back up on the board here real quick.
26 and a half for Pollard, and at DraftKings it's at minus 120 juice the over. It just popped off the board again, so it's at FanDuel again also off the board. So just one of those. We may have to wait for halftime, of course, because we're right inside this 2-minute drill, 2-minute warning. Dallas does have the ball with 58 seconds or so left, so just gonna have to wait and see what ends up happening here, just to kind of let things shake out a little bit. But knowing Dallas has the ball now and that the Chargers will start with the ball, I feel pretty good that our projections are kind of in line with where they should be. We don't need to mentally adjust upward or downward for specific situations.
I just tried to hit Pollard, and of course it goes off the board while it's thinking. Herbert's back on here. 8.5 rushing yards, minus 115, minus 120 in some spots. 7.5 over at DK. 8.5 over at Caesars. I'd probably take that 8.5 over 7.5. Now it's at 8.5 minus 120. I might end up hitting that. It just keeps going off the board very quickly.
Yeah, that's the thing with live betting, of course, is being able to sneak those in there. But we do have Herbert projected for 6.5 rushing yards. Mean and median pretty close to the same because, it's not a high number there. So right around 6.5 is where we have Justin Herbert projected for rest of game. And
honestly,
and because this game state is kind of, similar to the pregame state and that it's a close game, that projection really seems pretty fair too.
Yeah. I mean, the line's just kind of thrown off because Herbert has been rushing the ball a whole lot more this year. Mm-hmm. But you look back to last year, not necessarily the case. It's been some weird game scripts. Obviously, he got injured and he just ended up rushing the ball a lot. In the last game that they ended up playing, I think the other one, there was just a shootout and just constant back and forth with some urgency late in game. Well, this could end up being a close game here, and likely will end up being a close game for everyone who bet before. It'll be fun to watch this if you bet the spread. But one that I do like, Michael Gallup under 3.5 receptions. When it pops back up on the board, that could be. Now it's down to 2.5. All right, now it's gone. Darn live betting.
There's 3.5 is what it was just a moment ago, but I think, you're right. Now it's ghosted out at 2.5 at DraftKings. So no, it's still 3.5 at DraftKings, but at minus 135 ghosted out. So we'll just have to see what happens if that pops back onto the board. But Dallas is in a 1st and 20 situation with 21 seconds left in the half. They still have 2 timeouts remaining, and the Chargers have none. So it's still possible Dallas could take a couple shots, even over the middle of the field, and use timeouts if they want. So they've got some wide open options here as I'm watching the snap. And it is a completed pass for a good chunk of yardage to the tight end there, and a flag comes in. So this is going to make things pretty interesting. Dallas is now probably in field goal range, so they could end up taking a halftime lead.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting here. I'm just not going to bother betting until halftime. These are going way off the board way too quickly. So we'll see here
exactly.
in a minute.
So
we got a few in.
While we're doing that, then, because we're going to go into halftime pretty close to whether it's a field goal lead, probably, or just tie game. Maybe a touchdown lead for Dallas, but I do want to talk about some pace splits, because the more Dallas leads, the more this game stays at kind of a neutral pace, but the more the Chargers lead, the more this game speeds up relative to average. So if it's a close game, this game will play probably around 2 seconds per play faster rest of game. But if the Chargers were to somehow take a touchdown lead, it would play 3 seconds faster. But if Dallas were to go up by more than a score, this, like I said, would be stayed about a neutral. So this could speed up a little bit in the second half, simply because it's going to be a close game, most likely going into halftime. So there may be a little bit of value on some overs, especially with this. I feel like there's been a little bit of bad luck so far in this game. This probably should be higher than 14 total points so far, with potential for maybe 17 points at halftime is what it's looking like.
Yeah. No, what? Yeah, sorry. I mean, I would be interested in taking the Chargers depending on what the money line's at. I'm checking out all the spots. I generally like to take them when they're a dog.
Yeah.
And I'd probably be more interested in the spread if it gets to 3. It might move to 3 as soon as they hit this field goal. It's at 3.5, but heavy juice on the under over at FanDuel. Checking out Caesars right now. Why isn't it showing? Yeah, I'd definitely. Yeah, Caesars has it at 1.5. Now it's off the board. So I don't know if they just missed the field goal or what's going on here. But
it is 10-7. So Dallas did make the field goal here. But at least that's what I'm seeing, 10-7 at halftime. So we are able to hit that halftime reset. Things should start to populate back here. But just a real quick recap, 10-7 at halftime. The Dallas Cowboys lead the Los Angeles Chargers. We have the fact that the Los Angeles Chargers are going to be starting with the ball in the second half. So we'll want to keep that in mind. And if I do just flip over real quick to live money lines and things like that, Chargers plus 134, minus 172 for Dallas at FanDuel. And I'll check over at DraftKings real quick.
140 plus 140 minus 180. So
yeah,
I'm kind of tempted to hit the Chargers plus 140. What do you think about that?
Honestly, it's pretty close for me. So I could definitely see that. I don't really have a side or a total I love in this game either way. So I'm probably going to stay off of sides and totals. Well, I should say, at least for the total, I might consider taking it over at some point if the game speeds up. But right now, with Dallas slightly leading, I probably don't think there's much value on sides or totals. But I could definitely get behind the Chargers money line if that's where you're going. It's not going to be for me, but I can understand why you would want to take it.
Yeah, I just hit it plus 140.
Plus 140 on the money line for the Chargers. That is what Grant is taking. I don't really have a lean there personally either way, but right now I'm just kind of updating this game state here, and our in-game prop tool that we have, our brand new in-game prop tool, everything should be ready to go. Player props are going to start popping back up at the books. And so Grant, where do you want to look at for player props?
I mean, we should probably look at second half anytime touchdown bets. I mean, I'm looking at things. Herbert, the fact that the Cowboys just scored makes me a little bit more hesitant to take his under of 8.5 rushing yards. Palmer, his receiving yards, if I didn't already hit his receptions, I'd probably end up hitting it. but it's kind of where it should be at. I mean, he's got what, 38 right now. Line's showing 58, so just over 20 in the second half is what we're looking for. And I don't know if I love that line. It's probably just one I'll stay away from. Keenan Allen, his under is actually looking kind of interesting. He's getting mostly schemed short area passes. I mean, granted, he does have 5 targets and 3 receptions. You would think with Mike Williams not being in the game that he would show a big increase. But we look into the past games without Mike Williams, and a lot of those games he actually hasn't done too much. It looks like the Cowboys are kind of scheming to watch him. A lot of his action is or his targets are coming off of pre-snap motion, and that's mostly been in the red zone. 2 of his 5 targets were in the red zone on pre-snap motion. Outside of that, he really hasn't done a ton. So his current line is sitting at 56.5. I know it was heavy coming in, minus 115 juice on the under. What do you think about that line? Because I think I might end up hitting that.
For Keenan Allen, you're saying?
Yeah.
Our projection's at 56 exactly. So right in line with the market there.
Yeah, 57.5 now.
Yeah.
I don't like going against the I'll wait until after the first drive if we're gonna end up watching that.
Yeah, we might end up watching that and seeing how that goes. The Chargers are trailing and they do start with the ball, so that helps a little bit, but it's it's pretty much right in line with the market on Keenan Allen there.
Yeah, let's see what else. What does it model say about Gerald Everett? They have schemed him a lot. He's sitting at 30.5 receiving yards for his total pretty much everywhere.
We have 30.7. So right in line with Everett as well, which is good. You want the model to be in line with the market a lot of times because, again, it means you have a solid model. And just to get to your snap count question, circling back there with Donald Parham, he's had 13 snaps out of 33 plays. The other tight ends, Everett, had 24. So, Parham playing about 1/3 of the plays, just over 1/3 of the plays.
Yeah. What about Gallup, 33.5? I actually had his pregame under, but looks like he's getting a whole lot more usage than I thought he would.
Yeah, I mean, he's played pretty much as many snaps as CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks have. He's played 27 snaps to their 31. So definitely some good usage there. And then Gallup, if we put in his receiving yards prop, we have at 39.5. We have his receptions at 3.6. So I know FanDuel for Gallup has 3.5 with plus 114 to the over. So we're showing a little bit of over value on Gallup's receptions.
Yeah, and a little bit of over on Gallup's receiving yards. I'm hitting the receiving yards. Not sure about the receptions. I'm just checking around here. But I think I'm officially hitting.
I'm going to join you there. So it's what, 33.5 at DraftKings is what you see, or is there something else elsewhere? Yeah. So 33.5, Michael Gallup over 33.5 receiving yards for both myself and Grant on that one as the third bet so far on this Bet What Happens Live.
That's a fourth bet I hit. I had the money line.
Oh yeah, you hit the money line as well. That's right. So Grant has 4. I'm at 2 bets, and Grant is at 4 bets total. I'm joining him on 2 of those bets. But let's look at, like you said, let's look at the second half touchdown scores. I know Bet365 also often has the best lines for specifically second half anytime touchdown score. But make sure, whatever book you got access to, you try to find the best lines available. So Grant, what are you thinking as far as anytime touchdowns?
So let me look at right now. Second half, Eckler plus 130. I don't know if I love that. What does the model say about Pollard plus 140? I know he came in at minus 180. I think the second half is going to be higher scoring than it has been. I know that someone on Action Island liked Pollard minus 180. I think that's potentially a decent one. Keenan Allen plus 240 is probably where the line should be at. I'm not looking at other books at the moment, but I'm sure there might be a better line than that. I know Bet365 generally has the best lines, but it's more on lesser known players. On the stars of the games, anytime touchdown bets on Bet365 are kind of similar in the market and sometimes worse.
Yeah. So Pollard is plus 165 at FanDuel, which is better than Bet365, but we have plus 180 fair in our model. So tough to say. We weren't showing value.
What do you have it as fit? What do you have it as?
Plus 180. So FanDuel's at plus 165. I think it's
plus 180 over at Caesars. Yeah, oh, that's tough.
I know it is a tough one.
I'm hitting it for a half unit. We don't have any touchdown bets yet.
I was going to say the Chargers are starting with the ball though, so that could change things as well, given the fact that they start with the ball. That'll take some time off the clock, and if they score, could end up, if they take the lead, it could force Dallas to throw just a touch more.
Yeah, I know, but still, once they get in the red zone, they've been so bad in the red zone this year, but they're just absolutely feeding Pollard. So honestly, if they end up scoring a touchdown, it's still gonna be close enough where he's still gonna get fed when they get down there. I'm not terribly worried about it. I still think that's solid, even if the Chargers do end up scoring here. What did you say the model has it for Eckler? Looks like Caesars has some really solid lines right now.
Eckler is pretty much right at 2-1, like plus 197, plus 198 is fair value for Austin Eckler.
Plus 160 over there. Let's check out Allen again on the board.
I will say Eckler's been in on just about half the snaps, I do believe. Let me go back up here. Eckler's been on 19 out of 33 plays, so a little over half, which is kind of where he was in week 1 before his, he was out the next couple weeks. So Eckler's usage seems pretty fair compared to what we had in pregame projection as well. So I think that anytime touchdown projection should be, that plus 197 or so is about where we have it.
Yeah. What about Palmer? Palmer, again, he's been heavily involved. He got a touchdown taken away. He's a guy that could potentially see getting one plus 550 is the best odds over at FanDuel and over at MGM.
Yeah, Palmer, we have plus 550 as fair. But again, if we mentally bump up his usage potentially, and the fact that they start with the ball, I can see value at plus 550 for sure.
I mean, we don't have any. I'm throwing it on the board.
Throwing it on the board?
Yeah.
Let's do it. We're going to go with Josh Palmer anytime touchdown plus 550 here for you doing a quarter unit, half unit. What are you doing here, Grant?
I have so much money on Palmer, but I'm still doing a half unit.
Half unit on Josh Palmer. Anytime touchdown plus 550. So Grant and I both going to be on that one as well. So there's bet number, I've lost track, 5 or 6 already. I see some questions in chat about Everett plus 750. I have plus 750, pretty much smack dab fair value. I think that's pretty close. Let me look if there's any other questions in chat. Don't see too much here. Yeah, Everett plus 750 is what I have as fair value there as well. Keenan Allen, he already grabbed a touchdown. For rest of game, we have him plus 325 or so for another touchdown.
Who called the first touchdown score? Keenan Allen.
That's right.
Felt pretty good about that one. I don't bet first touchdown scorers very often because generally the lines aren't great, but yeah, plus 1,000 was just too juicy.
Yeah, I'm looking around. So Keenan Allen, I see second half anytime touchdown score at plus 240, nowhere near the plus 325 we have. Looking for any other touchdown value. One thing I do want to look at is interception props. We always like to check those out. So interception props, I have plus 220 for Dak Prescott and plus 265 for Justin Herbert. So if you see anything longer than those would be bettable. But unfortunately, at least at FanDuel, I see plus 210 on Dak and plus 220 on Herbert. So not seeing any interception value either on, at least as far as at FanDuel. I haven't been able to look
plus
at every
200 over 200 looks plus 200 for both of them looks like the best line.
Yeah, so no interception value there as well, according to our model. Doesn't mean it won't happen, but it's just if you do bet it, it's probably expected negative ROI there. Real quick, I do want to look at Cooks and Gallup because I was on their pregame anytime touchdown, and check out their touchdown props. So let me just click over here. Gallup, FanDuel is plus 950. We're showing plus 700, and Cooks we're showing plus 750 to plus 750 at FanDuel. So I don't hate a flyer on Gallup at 9-1.
Yeah, it looks like FanDuel has the best odds on both of them.
Yep.
I'll take a quarter unit flyer on Gallup.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm gonna double down on Michael Gallup here and go with another quarter unit flyer on his second half, or just his anytime touchdown. We're betting it at halftime, of course, at 9-1. He did have that long. And you look around, like he's 5-1 at DraftKings, he's 9-1 at FanDuel, but he did have that one long pass that was just barely defended. That would have gone for a touchdown had he ended up catching that. So certainly think there's some value at 9-1 Michael Gallup anytime touchdown.
What do you have CeeDee Lamb last one? Because it looks like he's plus 300 over on FanDuel.
We have Lamb 4-1 for a touchdown. I see somebody saying any value on Lamb over receptions. Right now we have him for under in his receptions. We have 7.8, and I see the line is 8.5 at DraftKings.
Yeah, minus 180 on the under over at FanDuel. What is it at DraftKings?
Looks like minus 166 at DraftKings, so the under 8.5. So definitely not showing over value. If there was a side to take, under would be the side, but it's pretty heavily juiced to the under there. So I think it's just a pass on CeeDee Lamb.
What does it have for Pollard receiving yards?
Pollard, great question, because we were going to go look at him. Pollard, we have 57.25 for the mean rest of game or full game.
Rushing or receiving?
Rushing. Were you asking receiving? Oh, yeah. Sorry. Receiving 32.8.
That's interesting. He's currently sitting at 20. The line's at 30.5. I kind of want to hit that.
You want to hit that over? The one thing I will say, we probably want to mentally adjust it from 32.8 down to maybe 31 or 30, simply because Dallas isn't starting with the ball here.
Okay, boom, 28.5 over
28.5 at FanDuel. All right.
Yeah, minus 108. I'm hitting that.
Yep, I'm with you there. I'm on the over 28.5 at FanDuel for Tony Pollard receiving yards. So we got another over in here. But there's another bet that we have made. So it looks like as far as where we stand, we've got a nice chunk of bets. I'm just trying to see as we come back towards the third quarter here. Of course, the Chargers have the ball. If there's anything we want to maybe consider as this drive goes along, otherwise, I think we could probably,
the main one we were considering. Yeah, the main one we were considering was Keenan Allen under receiving yards based on the way he does this. Currently still sitting at 56.5. I think that's one just based on how things have gone that I kind of like the under short area passes if they score, or even if they don't score, if the line is still decent. He just got one target there, but there's a reason I was waiting on this drive.
So Keenan Allen, of course, right now he has 12 receiving yards, 3 catches on 6 targets for 12 receiving yards. And full game, we have him projected for, about 51.5 right now. So it's going to take a little bit for the prop tool to update now that the second half has started ticking down. But at least according to my model, we have about 51.5 for Keenan Allen full game receiving yards.
Palmer. Oh gosh. Beautiful. It's catch number 3. Kind of wish I would have gone over on yards. FY Dak interception is sitting at 220 right now over on DK. I can't remember what you had.
Yeah, 220 is exactly what we had as fair value on Dak.
Yeah. Worth a try. Yeah, Keenan Allen's just not, outside of that touchdown, really not getting it done right now.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he only has 3 catches on 6 targets, like I said, 12 yards. So there's some volume there, but it hasn't been a lot of long receiving volume, that's for sure. So he's operated mostly, you know, with short depth of target, short air yards, whatever you want to call it. And we have him projected for 51.5 full game receiving yards.
His ADOT's got to
that's
be like
coming down
6 or 8.
Yeah,
like
exactly. So, yeah, and of course, with the time ticking off the clock here, he's now down to around 50 receiving yards as our full game projection. So we just got to wait and see where he pops back up in terms of receiving yards. But right now, you know, FanDuel only showing Cowboys. DraftKings has him at 51.5. So we're showing undervalue on 51.5 for sure.
Well, don't we haven't projected at 50?
We haven't projected at 50 now. Yeah.
Yeah. Just the fact that they have this in their hand still makes me kind of want to wait until this drive's over with.
Yep.
Understandable
for sure.
Determine some things.
Yeah. Especially if they were to score here, that would change things as well. But they're approaching midfield here. So we're just kind of waiting on this drive. If you have any questions, we're happy to take them while we wait on this Keenan Allen prop. But yeah, Palmer is up to 3 receptions. So you had the over 3.5. That's looking pretty nice. And other than that, I'm happy to take any questions in chat.
Yeah, I'm just looking to see if anything else is popping up that looks solid. What's receiving yard? Eckler's at 33 receiving yards right now, and his totals at 47.5 over on Caesars. Let me check out 45.5 over at DK, but it just got taken off the board. That could be one that we could also hit. What does your model say about the over?
Austin Eckler receiving yards. We have right around 50 total receiving yards for the game.
Yeah, so 44.5 of that pops up on the board here in a second. That could be good. Is that Palmer? Oh, well, live hit already.
There we go.
Literally
Palmer
took
already over
5 minutes of game time to hit at plus 150. Gosh, I love this.
Grant with the great call on Josh Palmer already hitting over 3.5 receptions. I was at some plus money too. So nice get there by Grant. Hope y'all were able to tail him. What else do we have? Let's see. So we were talking about that Austin Eckler prop. And he is at 50 projected receiving yards. So if a 44 does pop up, something
it's
like
45.5 currently. I'm just checking Caesars to see 46.5 tweet. 45.5 at DK, it looks like for me. I'm gonna hit that. As soon as it lets me sign back in. Let's see if it's on the board by the time I get back in here. The excitement is killing me. Location verified, and it's closed. And it's gone. All right, so we'll see here in a second if it pops back up. Hopefully it better odds, but that's one I definitely think that I'm going to end up hitting. Just waiting on this drive for Keenan Allen. This is long drive. Sorry you got to spend so much time with me.
That's all right. If we keep hitting live winners, I'm totally okay with that. So we have Keenan Allen, or sorry, that
is Keenan Allen. No, so that's good thing we haven't hit it yet, but we'll see what the line ends up at here.
It's 62.5 ghosted on DraftKings now. So it's a good thing we avoided taking that, because he's at 31 total receiving yards now. And that would put his full game projection at around 69 receiving yards.
Oh, all right. So it's at 62. That makes it a little bit tougher after a 20-yard. Eckler back on the board at 45.5.
45.5 for Eckler. And we have, like I said, 45.5, Austin Eckler over. I'm going to just leave that to Grant, because I'm on Austin Eckler under receptions, and he's sitting there still at 2. So I'm just gonna let it be. So that's a Grant bet for Austin Eckler on a receiving yard. So I think unless you want to still wait out this Keenan Allen prop, I think we're good.
No,
Not
it's
anymore.
like now it was essentially the same as if it was at 47.5 after that reception rest of game, but adding that reception on, that makes sense. So yeah, I think we're good to go.
All right.
They didn't let me get Eckler at 45.5, but now they're letting me get it at 43.5. Let's see. It's placing.
I do like 43.5.
And it closed.
Darn.
Of course, they'll never let me get anything. This is why I can't have nice things.
Exactly.
Of course, he just caught a ball.
Eckler?
I think he didn't. That might have been a rewind.
Yeah, he did. He has 3 catches now for 33 yards. So I'll be sweating not having 2 more catches for Austin Eckler. But we'll see. So that is going to do
How
it.
about just one 20-yard catch?
Yeah, well, I'd be totally fine with that. A 120-yard catch. That sounds good to me. But we'll wrap it up there for Bet What Happens Live. Good luck with your bets, everybody. And Grant and I will be back for Thursday Night Football for Week 7 action. We'll see you then.
Hey, kids.